Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your opinion down below. Am I the idiot for hanging onto a painting my ex made? I, 27M, have been with my girlfriend, Sophie, 26F, now fiance, for the past 2 years. Before I dated her, I dated someone else, Jen, for about a year, at the end of which we had an amicable breakup. During our time together, Jen made a painting for my birthday. She also framed it herself. It was a thoughtful gift and it holds sentimental value for me. I hung it in my living room and used to show it off to my guests while Jen and I were still together. Fast forward to now. I still have the painting up on the wall, and Sophie knows about its history, though I don't talk about it to guests now. Recently, I started getting a sense that Sophie didn't like that I still had the painting up. She didn't say anything for the longest time, but I noticed that she would sometimes take off the painting for cleaning and then forget to put it back up. One day, we were discussing where to hang some Christmas decor and she pretended that the painting wasn't there. When I pointed out that we already had something on the wall at the spot she was suggesting, she said she assumed I'd remove that painting now that we are engaged. I said I didn't want to do that, and she blew up. She said she couldn't believe that I still had a painting made by an ex on the wall while we were going to get married soon. We ended up in a shouting match where I said she was being petty and I didn't want to erase all existence of a previous relationship just cause we broke up. She said she couldn't possibly fathom how I thought having the painting in our living room was a good idea. After calming down a bit, I tried to consider Sophie's point of view. I can see why the presence of the painting might bother her, but I don't feel like removing it because it feels pointlessly disrespectful to Jen and feels like an erasure of a part of my life. That this bothers Sophie so much is in itself a bit of a red flag for me. So Reddit, please tell me if I am being the idiot here. Some additional info. The subject matter of the painting is generic, like a landscape, not specific to me and Jen. There are a few other paintings on the wall too, so it doesn't stand out. It's not signed with Jen's name, she put her initials at the back, so there's nothing to spark awkward discussions in front of guests. I don't bring up the painting at all in front of guests. If someone asks who made it, I just tell them it was made by a girl I used to date a few years ago, and that's it. This has happened only twice in the last 6 months that Sophie and I have lived together. Jen and I don't hang out or even chat online, so there is no question of an emotional affair between us. After the breakup, we decided we would break off contact to avoid a messy situation. We have only crossed paths a few times at parties hosted by mutual friends, where we just said a polite hi to each other. Sophie was also present at these parties. Not the idiot. Your fiance is being ridiculous. Jen isn't even in or anywhere near the picture anymore, so there really is nothing to worry about. Tell your fiance you put the ring on her finger, and not Jens. You chose your fiance, and you're choosing to spend the rest of your life with her. The painting is a nice memory, and a landscape and nothing sentimental. There's nothing about it that is tying you to Jen anymore. You may wanna be careful about your fiance getting rid of it though. She's taken it down and accidentally forgot to put it back up. What if one day she decides to accidentally knock it down and break it, or accidentally left it outside on the curb for the garbage men to pick up? I've seen many posts like this on this sub. Not the idiot. You're allowed to have a past. Friendly breakups are a thing. Your fiance is just being insanely jealous. It's not like it's a nude or anything. You're the idiot. Both of you know the painting is from your ex. When your fiancé sees the painting, in her mind, she associates it with your ex because that is all it is to her. A painting you got from your ex. It's not weird or implies your fiancé has issues. It's just cognitive association and a normal thing the brain does. Last thing I want is to walk in my house and see a painting smack in the middle of a living room that I subconsciously or consciously associate with my husband's ex. Every day. Your fiancé doesn't want to wipe out all existence of your relationship. She just doesn't want a daily reminder in her living room. Big difference. But instead of giving her the peace of mind, you rather not disrespect an ex by taking it down, who, if you say split amicable, shouldn't even care if you hang her picture or not. Am I the idiot for ditching my roommate? I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with a boyfriend. I broke up with him a couple of months into the lease because all we did was fight. I realized he was not the kind of person I wanted to be with. I tried to remain civil with him and he moved into the 2nd bedroom. Unfortunately, he had no intentions of being civil with me. He trashed the common areas, would scream at me, call me names, and even threatened to throw my things outside at one point. I ended up trying to just avoid him and felt like a prisoner in my own apartment. I had mostly been paying for things with unemployment and help from family. I was having no luck with finding a job that would pay my bills despite extensive searching. Eventually I decided it would be best for me financially and emotionally to move back in with my parents. I tried to talk to my roommate a month before I was planning to move out. I offered to find a replacement roommate for him but he said he would accept no one. Eventually I was able to find a way for us to both move out without too much of a penalty. On his way out he was yelling that I was lazy and a piece of shit and left all of his garbage in the apartment for me to clean up. I don't feel right that I was wanting to leave before the lease term was up but I honestly felt like I couldn't live like that any longer. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot in any way. The only idiot in the post is the ex-boyfriend roommate. Don't listen to a word he says. He sounds like an abusive, manipulative and generally horrible person with no concern for your well-being. You didn't do anything horrible to him. You put up with a bunch of bull crap from him and reasonably got out of there when you could. Not the idiot. You sound like you've been a doormat for this guy so long, you can't see the appalling things you are accepting as normal, or okay. IT's not. Don't worry about what happens to this loser. He clearly doesn't care about you. Every time you act decently towards him, he uses it to screw you. Quit taking it, and make your exit. Quickly, cleanly, and without his knowledge. He might hurt you if you continue to act in such a passive manner. Not the idiot. Glad you are free from this abusive idiot. You owe him nothing, except maybe a good kick in the butt. Am I the idiot for laughing at my mom when she told me she would never let a man come between us? For starters, I just want to say I, 21F, love my mom, 49F. I think for the most part she is a great lady, though she has a fear of ending up alone which oftentimes means she stays with men too long and disregards us. Now this attribute wasn't too bad until she met her now fiancé David. David is not my cup of tea. Before my mom and him were together, my mother and I never fought but David would constantly instigate fights between us for no reason. Literally one time he told my mom I was being disrespectful for going to a school sponsored event and not getting home right on time because the buses were late. He also makes terribly rude remarks to my siblings and I, most of them being grossly sexist, homophobic, and ableist. My brother has a mental disability which David perceives as him being lazy. He also makes rude remarks to my mom a lot but does it under the guise of being nice or helpful, which basically means he says it with a smile. He was not very nice to his animals either, which I think is disgusting, but luckily he doesn't have any at the moment so I don't need to worry. I told my mom from the beginning, when I was 17, that I didn't like him and she told me she wouldn't sacrifice my happiness for hers. So now since I'm an adult I usually just leave her be. The other day though we were talking about a friend of hers who is basically emotionally abusing one of her kids to appease a man. My mom said, "Ugh, it's just terrible. I would never let a man treat my kids like that or come between us." Which I just laughed at. She got irritated at that and asked why I laughed, and I just said that she might not have been as bad as her friend but David does treat us disrespectfully, which you have chosen to ignore. I told her it's fine now and you should hold your friend accountable, but you're also being a hypocrite. She freaked out, started crying and hung up. My brothers thanked me for saying something and said I was in the right, while my aunt called and said I'm an adult now so it shouldn't be any of my concern what my mom does, who she dates. Which I guess is right. I don't know though, am I the idiot? I didn't even think what I said was that bad and are all things I had said as a minor as well. Not the idiot. Being an adult doesn't mean what she did wasn't comparable to her friend. Stick up for yourself and your siblings. She has let a man get between your relationship. Not the idiot. Tell your aunt your mother is an adult now and it shouldn't be her concern when her sister is rightly called on out being a pot calling a kettle black. Not the idiot. I guess maybe your aunt didn't get the whole story. In any case, you were absolutely in the right. Hypocrites just hate to be called out by design. Would I be the idiot if I put my foot down with my stepmother? Hello everyone. I apologize for any weird formatting as I'm on mobile. So backstory, my stepmom is my dad's fourth wife, me and my brother's mom having been his first. They divorced in 2004. He's a serial cheater, but it really seems like this marriage is going well, so we're hoping for the best. My brother, 17, and I, 22F, have known our stepmom for about 11 years now. We first met in 2010, dad proposed in 2015 and they got married in 2016. My brother and I were in the wedding party. The point is that we've known our stepmom for a long time and we love her. However, we've never referred to her as our mom. When we talk about our dad and his wife, we refer to them as dad and stepmom's first name. If I'm able to introduce her to someone, I introduce her as my stepmom. The problem is that within the last couple of years, my stepmom has been introducing herself as our mother. She doesn't do it around me, but she does do it around my brother. He's much less confrontational than I am and he doesn't say anything when she does this. I know he hates it, but he'll only ever rant to me about it instead of telling her he doesn't like it. Also, my dad has joined in on it in a mostly joking factor. If my brother or I talk about plans or things we want to do, my dad will jokingly say, well, your mother and I have thought about it and stuff like that. My parents' divorce wasn't an amicable one, so when he does it I can't help but feel like he's trying to erase or replace my mom. Recently I had a medical procedure and my mom had to work, so my stepmom took me. Before the procedure, I had the staff of the OR coming in to introduce themselves and a couple of them turned to my stepmom and said, oh, you must be mom. The weird thing is that she and I look more alike than me and my mom do. My mom is white, dad is Indian and my brother and I inherited his skin and hair color. Never mind the creepy implication that my dad dates women who look like his daughter, but it was 5 AM and their assumption was getting on my nerves. I eventually corrected one of them, but later when they left us alone my stepmom asked me what my preference was. Because it was 5 AM and I hadn't eaten anything I was in no mood to answer eloquently, so I basically just gave a non-committal politician style answer hemming and hawing about it. However, I've been stewing about it ever since and I really would like to tell her that it bugs me when she introduces herself as my mom, and when she doesn't correct people who assume she is. Would I be the idiot if I told her that while she's family and I love her dearly, she's not my mom and I'd like her to stop introducing herself as such, and to start correcting people when they assume she is? Not the idiot. You accept her as a stepmom and that is what she is. You do have to accept if she backs off a bit though too. Because she is not your mom. Nah. You need to communicate your feelings to her in a really respectful manner, and see how it goes. She won't know if you don't tell. Pretty sure she's not doing it to hurt your feelings or replace your mum at your age. Not the idiot. But approach it gently and lovingly. It sounds like you have a really strong relationship which you wouldn't want to compromise over this.